Good evening, shalom, and welcome to the Seven Churches. Um, Today's topic is Pergamon, and Pergamon was a city that was in Asia, about 20 minutes from the Aegean Sea, and really liked um, their major. Like they had several minerals that they like to import, export. I mean, but their most famous product was this parchment, which became envious of Greek scholars everywhere. Pergamon um, is was a large city, an agropolis, which is meant it was built on a hill, so it was very easy seen, therefore well fortified. It wasn't afraid of being attacked, and the castle was at the very top pinnacle. It was also the site of several um, temples to various gods and goddesses of the Greek mythology as well as the local mythology, which was quite intermixed at times. Um, in all of this, a little church was born, and Pergamus translates into mixed marriage. The title that Yeshua uses here is the one who has a sword, a sharp, double edged sword. And therefore, he's coming with judgment, he's coming with conquering spirit, he's going to overthrow. His commendation to the church was that they hold on to his name, Yeshua's name, and did not um, did not diminish their faith in any way, shape, size, or form. They were very strong in their belief in Yeshua. However, they had also the teachings of Balaam running amok, and they often committed sexual immorality, um, including eating meats and foods that were offered to idols. They also had the teachings of Nicolaitans. Yeah, so these three things stuck out in there. Now, what is the teachings of Balaam? There's many scholars who try to suggest what it could be or couldn't be. Balaam was a prophet in the Old Testament, and he was hired out to prophesy. Now, initially, the country that where Philistines offered him gold, a substantial amount, to come and prophesy against his home country, Israel. But every time he showed up, he had something good to say. God wouldn't let him say anything evil. But the fact that a prophet could be bought for money shows the type of teachings that were available at the time. Today we have prophets in the land, so called. So long as you give them a shekel or two, they'll prophesy anything you want. They got everything good to say. The one trademark this man has been done whenever he's prophesied is that cannot be bought or sold. There's been several attempts to buy me, or own me, or control me. All have failed. Some even perishing with their very life. And that's sad, and I'm not at all proud of that. I still say to people, I wish it had been me that had been slain and not them. But God is God, and He'll judge whom He wants to. And one day, I'll face His wrath too, for everything bad I might have done. I just pray that I've been good enough to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. And that's all we can do, is look and hope and live our life to the best of our ability, according to what God has set out before us. um, Now, in the midst of this group were also the Nicolaitans, or Gnostics. These people believe um, that if you have knowledge, it inflates you. The more you know, they were the scholars of the day, the more you understand. And they held that God was a mystery, and only certain privileged individuals belonged to their priesthood could ever understand what God was all about, and only they could read the scriptures and teach the people, and everybody else were a bunch of ignoramuses and therefore had to listen and not put anything in. We still have these teachings as well amongst the churches of the Messiah on this world today. Excuse me. Yeah, I know. Coke's bad for you. By eating foods and offered to idols, we know there is nothing in this world that there is our God. Even if there is, even if there were so-called gods. There's been a debate on the Nephilim, and these teachings are strong and prevalent in amongst the Messianic world. And I think our concentration on the Nephilim and their reappearance or non-reappearance and their existence and non-reexistence is more focused today than on what the true scriptures are all about, which is about salvation and the promise of our Lord and his soon and imminent returning. We need to take our eyes off of these phony balonies who are yelling around like clouds and proclaiming the aliens are coming, the aliens are coming. Beware, beware. This is part of the great deception. When the great bastard himself should appear, the one you call the Antichrist, the son of perdition, would appear. It would be highly probable that he may even disguise himself as some kind of alien being coming to set forth man back onto its original path. Some kind of deception. And they're all kind of deceiving spirits running to and fro, and silly people are following wherever it is. To the Messianic world out there who have my respect, I ask you, if they appear in your congregation, just tell them politely, there's the door. They do nothing but divide and put fear into your congregations. We are not of fear, we're of a strong, sound mind. We are to hear the word, be instant in season and out of season. We're to proclaim the Messiah and his soon and imminent return. And the message is being forgotten quickly, not only in the Messianic world, but also in our very own Christianity. Everything is made by God. And we exist only for him. All have this knowledge with the condensation. Food was made for us and acceptable, so therefore we can eat it. We have this teaching running through as well from the agnostics that somehow that all food is made for us and therefore we can eat it. If it moves, we can eat it. And indeed, we look at mankind in the world today and they're shoveling just about anything that moves into their mouth. If they can shove it in, they'll chew it up and they'll swallow it, whether it is good or bad. We're eating fish that is poisoned. We're eating clams. We're eating lobster. We're eating strange creatures that we've never even seen. We're eating stuff that's making us sick. We're monkeying around with the DNA and genetics and stuff like this. And this stuff is foolishness. I would advise Messianic believers, wherever they are, that they go back to the original precepts and start your own garden, grow your own crops, and that way you know what's in them, at least to a certain degree. You can't keep what the rest of the environment is spitting out and they may be breathing in. But at least somewhat you can control what kind of chemicals go into your garden and into your crop. The Pergamos says that it's a mixed marriage. And indeed, we have a mixed marriage going on. Several congregations that would, between reformists and Protestant groups, have merged into one congregation. We have the Catholic Lutheran, the Catholic Anglican Lutheran, the Lutheran Baptist, the Baptist Lutheran churches. All these little mishmash compromises on doctrine, but the worst and most blasphemous of all has been the rise of Chrislam, the merging of Christianity with Islam, under the guise, of course, that we all serve the one God, and therefore it has to be the true God, and that the names of Allah and Elohim are very much interchangeable. What utter nonsense. Do you read your scriptures? Do you understand the Bible? God is a God of love. Elohim is merciful, just, and true. This other Allah, which they claim to be merciful, just, and true, has ordered the butchering of Christians, the slaughtering of children, the raping of children, the pillaging and subjugation of women. Is it any wonder that some of these churches, now which have long time held in the shackles of the people of their own, wish to deliver them to a new master, whose tasks are even stronger than that of the Pharaoh of Egypt? I cry out with a loud voice, let my people go. Thus saith the Lord, let my people go, that they may return to the land of promise and worship again the one and only true God, and be merciful before him, and serve him day and night with psalms and singing, with praises and testimonies. In the land of Jerusalem, there are now an abundance of messianic groups. Finally, my friends, we have the ability to commit aliyah and return to the land of promise, and place ourselves at the feet of mercy and before our Master and Creator in the land of promise, where flows milk and honey, where prosperity abounds in anything that we touch, and we flee this land of curse that is set before us, whose bottom line is the God of Mammon. But I just there sharing all this stuff with you. Understand we can't have a mixed marriage. Those which are pagan belief we should not join ourselves to, and those which are of other ideals or ideologies we cannot comprehend with, nor should we sleep with. Beware, my children, in this dark age, for that which looks good is like the applesauce that is being the chutney that is served at Passover, where we're reminded that just because it looks good, tastes good, smells good, doesn't mean it is good. And we have a very fancy packaging of a very sweet product called compromise. Be watchful and prayerful until the coming of our Lord. This is Daniel Robert Boyne saying Shalom.